Think back to a single summer when you were a child. It stretched on forever. 3 months felt like a small eternity, long enough to learn to ride a bike, build a fort, grow bored, invent a whole new game, and grow bored of that too. A single afternoon could hold a lifetime. Now think about last year. It's a blur. It evaporated. You blinked and an entire season was gone, and you're not even sure where it went. Same months, same minutes, same ticking clock. But the real answer is far stranger than getting busier. Time has not changed. A year is exactly as long now as it was when you were 7. And yet it feels like it's accelerating, faster and faster, every year of your life. This isn't your imagination. And it isn't simply that adults have more to do. Something specific is happening inside your brain, a quiet mechanism that bends your sense of time without your permission. And once you understand it, you may be able to do something almost no one does. Slow time back down. Let's start with the most famous explanation, because it's partly true and beautifully simple. When you are 1 year old, a single year is your entire life. It is 100% of everything you have ever experienced. When you turn 2, that next year is only half your life. By the time you're 10, a year is a tenth. At 40, a single year is just 1/40th of your existence. A thin slice compared to the enormous loaf of everything you've already lived. This idea is often traced back to a 19th century thinker named Paul Janet, who proposed that we judge the length of a stretch of time against the total length of our life so far. By this logic, each year feels shorter than the last because it's a smaller and smaller fraction of the whole. The summers of childhood felt endless because back then, they really were a huge proportion of your entire existence. It's an elegant idea, but it isn't the whole story because it can't explain why a single boring afternoon as an adult can still crawl by, or why one unusually vivid week can feel enormous in memory. For that, we have to go deeper into how your brain actually builds the feeling of time. And here, we find something genuinely strange. You do not have a clock in your head. There is no organ that measures minutes. Instead, your brain estimates how much time has passed by counting something else entirely. Memories, new ones, the richness and density of fresh experience. Here is the key. Your sense of how long a period of time lasted is reconstructed after the fact, from how much you remember happening during it. A stretch of time crammed with new, distinct memories feels long when you look back on it. A stretch of time with almost nothing memorable in it collapses into nothing. And this creates one of the great paradoxes of time perception. Think about a thrilling novel week, a trip to a city you've never visited. Every street is new. Every meal, every face, every sound is something your brain has never processed before. While you're living it, time can feel like it's flying because you're absorbed and engaged. But when that week is over and you look back, it feels vast. It expands in memory because it laid down so many rich, new, distinct memories that your brain, counting them up, concludes a great deal of time must have passed. Now compare that to a week of ordinary routine. Wake, commute, work, eat, sleep, repeat. While you live it, the days might feel fine, even long in the moment. But look back at it a month later, and it has vanished, compressed into a single gray smear, because almost nothing about it was new enough to encode as a separate memory. This is the real engine behind time speeding up. Childhood is saturated with firsts. Your first day of school, the first time you saw the ocean, the first time you rode a bike, lost a tooth, made a friend, felt embarrassed, stayed up late. When you are young, almost everything is happening for the first time, and your brain, encountering all this novelty, lays down memory after vivid memory. Those years feel enormous in retrospect because they are densely packed with the new. But as you get older, life becomes familiar. You've seen oceans. You've started countless jobs and Mondays and relationships. Your brain has built efficient shortcuts for nearly everything you encounter. And those shortcuts come at a hidden cost. The neuroscientist David Eagleman has studied exactly this. He argues that the brain encodes novel experiences in far greater detail than familiar ones, and that this difference in encoding is what distorts our sense of how much time has passed. The more familiar an experience, the less your brain bothers to write it down. And what isn't written down can't be counted later. So the weeks and months blur. Because to your memory, looking back, very little actually happened. There's a related effect that researchers have actually measured in the lab. Psychologists describe something often called the oddball effect. When you're shown a series of identical images, and then suddenly a new, unexpected one appears. That novel image is perceived as lasting longer on the screen, even though every image was shown for exactly the same duration. Novelty literally stretches time. Your brain devotes more processing to the new, and that extra processing translates into a felt sense of more time. The familiar, by contrast, is processed lightly, quickly, almost automatically, and slips by without leaving much of a mark. So put the two ideas together. The proportional theory says each year is a smaller fraction of your life. The novelty theory says each year contains less that is genuinely new. Both point in the same direction. As you age, time accelerates, not because the clock changes, but because your life becomes more predictable, more routine, more automatic, and therefore less richly recorded. But here is where it gets unsettling, and then, surprisingly, hopeful. If your sense of time is built from novel memories, then a life lived on autopilot is, in a very real sense, a life that disappears. Not because you weren't there, but because you weren't recording. Every day you spend doing exactly what you did yesterday is a day that will leave almost no trace, and a year of such days will collapse, in memory, into almost nothing. The most frightening version of a wasted life is not one filled with pain. It's one filled with sameness, so smooth and so familiar that, looking back, it barely seems to have happened at all. And yet, the same mechanism hands you the key to its own reversal. Because if novelty is what stretches time, then novelty is also how you get it back. This is why a single week of travel can feel longer in memory than 2 months of normal life. It's why a year in which you change careers, moved cities, or fell in love feels so much fuller than the years on either side of it. You are not adding hours to your life. You are adding memories to it. And memories are the only currency your sense of time actually counts. There are researchers who have explored related ideas about attention and time, including the psychologist Mark Wittman, who studies how our felt sense of duration is shaped by how present and engaged we are. The thread connecting all of this is simple. When you pay full attention, when you encounter the new, when you break your routines and force your brain to actually process the world instead of running on prediction, time thickens. It fills back up. So the next time you feel a year slipping through your fingers, understand what is really happening. Your brain is not malfunctioning. It is doing exactly what it evolved to do, conserving energy by ignoring the familiar. But you can override it. You can take a different route home. You can learn the thing you've been putting off. You can go somewhere you've never been, talk to someone you don't know, do the small, frightening new thing instead of the safe, familiar one. Every time you do, you are laying down a fresh memory. And you are, quite literally, making your life longer from the inside. Think back one more time to that endless childhood summer. It didn't last longer because the days had more hours. It lasted longer because you were new to the world, and the world was new to you, and your brain was writing down everything, frantically, joyfully, because none of it had ever happened before. That summer is still long in your memory, for the same reason last year is short. And the secret it's been holding this whole time is not that you have to grow old and watch the years compress into nothing. It's that the clock was never the thing that mattered. The memories were. And you, unlike that child, now know exactly how to make more of them.